Dad, do you think Mum would still love me if she saw what I look like now? Raymond asked me this while we were eating spaghetti. Just said it. Like he was asking about homework. I put down my fork. My 9-year-old son was staring at the scars that ran from his left shoulder down to his wrist. Skin that had been grafted, rebuilt, scarred over after the accident 3 years ago. The accident that took my wife Sarah from us. Raymond, where is this coming from? Jaden says I look like a zombie. He says that's probably why Mum's gone, so she wouldn't have to look at me anymore. I felt something tighten in my chest. The scars covered his left arm and shoulder. 3rd-degree burns and lacerations from the car crash when Raymond was 6. He's 9 now. And some kid named Jaden Mitchell was telling my son his mother left this world to escape him. Buddy, look at me. I knelt down. Your mother loved you more than anything in this world. These scars don't change that. Then why does everyone stare? Why does Jaden tell kids not to touch me? Why did Riley pull away when I tried to give her a high five in gym? He wasn't crying. That was worse. He was just accepting it, like he'd already decided Jaden was right. Tomorrow, I said, I'm talking to your teacher. Dad, no. That'll make it worse. Raymond, please, just let me handle it. But he couldn't handle it. He was 9 years old. I didn't go to the teacher the next day. Something stopped me. Maybe I wanted Raymond to have control over his own story, or maybe I just didn't trust the school to handle it after years of watching institutions fail people. So I waited, watched. Raymond was smart, smarter than I gave him credit for. A week later, I found a notebook hidden in his backpack while looking for a permission slip. Inside were detailed notes in his careful handwriting. Monday, Jaden accidentally knocked my books into the water fountain, called me Freddy Krueger. Wednesday, Jaden started a game at recess called Don't Touch Raymond. 12 kids played. Friday, found my backpack in the bathroom sink. Note inside said, "Freaks belong in the trash." There were photos too. Raymond had been documenting everything on an old phone I'd given him for emergencies. My son was building a case against his bully. "Raymond," I said that night, showing him the notebook, "why didn't you tell me it was this bad?" "Because I wanted proof. So you wouldn't think I was exaggerating, so the school couldn't ignore it." "I would never think you were exaggerating. Mrs. Patterson did. When I told her Jaden pushed me, she said boys roughhouse, that I was being sensitive." My jaw tightened. "Pack this up. Tomorrow, we're going to the principal." But the next morning, everything changed. Raymond came home early. The school called me at work. He'd been in a fight. When I got to the principal's office, Raymond had a split lip. Jaden was sitting 3 chairs away, holding an ice pack to his eye. "Mr. Walsh," Principal Hernandez said, "Raymond struck another student." "After weeks of systematic harassment," I said, "I have documentation." I showed her the notebook, the photos, the pattern of bullying. Principal Hernandez's expression shifted from stern to uncomfortable. "I see. Mr. Mitchell, were you aware of this?" A man stood up from the corner, mid-40s, lean, tired-looking. Before I could process who he was, he spoke. "No," he said quietly. "I wasn't." "Your son has been tormenting mine for months," I said, my voice cold. Today, Raymond finally defended himself. "Jaden," the man said, "is this true?" Jaden looked at the floor, said nothing. "We'll need to discuss consequences for both boys," Principal Hernandez said, "but given the circumstances, I think we need a parent conference. Can you both come back tomorrow afternoon?" "I'll be here," the man said. "So will I replied. As we left, he approached me in the parking lot. "Mr. Walsh, I'm sorry. I didn't know Jaden was doing this. I'm Chris Mitchell." Before I could respond, he pressed a business card into my hand. "In case you ever want to talk." I crumpled it and shoved it in my pocket. "Keep your son away from mine." I started to walk away. "Wait," Chris called out. "You said the scars were from an accident. What kind of accident?" Something in his voice made me turn around. There was a desperation there that didn't fit the moment. "Why does that matter?" He looked uncomfortable. "I moved here 3 years ago for the DUI recovery program at St. Mary's, best in the state. Court mandated. A lot of us in the program have kids at this school. I always worry about the families we've affected. Car accident. 3 years ago. Drunk driver ran a red light at Maple and 5th. Chris's face drained of all color. His hands started shaking. Maple and 5th? His voice was barely a whisper. 3 years ago? Yes. Why? Mr. Walsh. His voice broke. What was your wife's name? Sarah. Sarah Walsh. Chris took a step back like I'd struck him. Oh God, it was you. You're the family I... The world tilted sideways. What are you talking about? The accident. Maple and 5th, 3 years ago. His voice was hollow. I was the drunk driver. I'm the one who caused your wife's death. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. That's impossible. The driver's name was Christopher Hayes. Hayes was my wife's maiden name. I took it after the accident. After I got sober. I couldn't carry my old name anymore. The name of the man who destroyed your family. You. The word came out like gravel. You took Sarah from us. I served 18 months, lost my license for 10 years. The judge ordered me here to complete the program, stay within county lines. I had to face what I'd done every day, knowing you were somewhere in this town. He looked at Raymond through my car window. I never imagined our kids would end up in the same school. I was shaking. Get away from me. Mr. Walsh, get away from me before I do something I'll regret. Chris stepped back, hands raised. Then he did something I didn't expect. He rolled up his sleeves. His forearms were covered in scar tissue, not from an accident. Self-inflicted cuts, mostly healed, and tattoos covering some of the damage. 1 day at a time, serenity prayer, an AA coin date. I'm not asking for forgiveness, he said quietly. I know I don't deserve it. But I need you to know I've spent every day trying to become someone who could live with what I did. I go to meetings. I volunteer at the crisis center. I'm raising my son alone because my wife left when I got arrested. You think any of that brings Sarah back? No. Nothing brings her back. But maybe... His voice cracked. Maybe it means the man who caused all that pain is dead too, and I'm trying to be someone different. Your son is tormenting mine. You think you've changed? Chris looked devastated. I'll talk to Jaden. I'll figure out what's going on. Don't bother. I don't want you anywhere near my family. I got in my car and drove away, leaving him standing in the parking lot. Hit that subscribe button and tell me where you're watching from. I couldn't stop thinking about him. Chris Mitchell, Christopher Hayes, the man who destroyed my family. I told myself I was past it, that I'd moved on, that seeing him wouldn't change anything after 3 years of therapy and grief counseling. I was lying to myself. That night, I lay awake replaying the parking lot conversation. His face when I said Sarah's name, the scars on his arms, his voice when he said he'd served 18 months, like that was supposed to mean something, like prison time could balance the scales. By midnight I was pacing. By 1 a.m. I was dressed and standing in my kitchen, car keys in my hand. By 2 a.m. I was sitting in my car outside his house, telling myself I was just checking on the neighborhood, making sure Jaden's family wasn't a threat to Raymond. But that wasn't true. I wanted to see Chris suffer. I wanted proof that his redemption was a performance, that underneath the sobriety coins and self-harm scars, he was still the man who killed my wife. I wanted a reason to destroy him. The house was dark, a pickup truck in the driveway. Everything looked normal, quiet, boring. I sat there for an hour, watching, waiting for something to justify the rage burning in my chest. Nothing happened. I drove home feeling hollow and ashamed. I called in sick to work the next morning, told myself I needed time to process. But by noon, I was parked across from the school during recess, watching through the chain-link fence, just making sure Raymond was safe. That's what I told myself. But my eyes kept drifting to Jaden. Thin kid, hollow eyes, the kind of posture I recognized from my time in the Marines, someone who'd learned to make themselves small, someone who expected to be hit. During gym class I saw it. A teacher called Jaden over, touched his arm to get his attention. Jaden flinched. Not a small flinch, a full-body recoil. The teacher pulled back, concerned, said something. Jaden shook his head quickly, pulled his sleeve down, but I'd already seen it. Bruises, dark purple, in the shape of fingers. My training kicked in before I could think. Pattern recognition, signs of abuse. I'd seen it in conflict zones, in military families struggling with PTSD, in the faces of kids who learned early that adults couldn't be trusted. Someone was hurting that kid. I should have called CPS right then, should have reported it through proper channels, but I didn't. I spent the rest of the afternoon convincing myself I'd been mistaken, that it was just shadows through the fence, that I was seeing what I wanted to see, a reason to tear Chris's life apart. Then school let out. I watched Jaden walk to the pickup area, watched him wait. Chris's truck pulled up 20 minutes late, and a woman was driving, blonde, mid-30s, wearing sunglasses even though it was overcast. She said something to Jaden. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw Jaden's shoulders hunch, saw him climb into the truck bed instead of the cab. I followed them, kept 3 cars back, told myself I was just making sure the kid got home safe, that I'd turn around any minute. I didn't turn around. They pulled into Chris's driveway. The woman got out, grabbed Jaden by the upper arm, hard enough that he stumbled, pulled him inside. I parked down the street, waited. Chris's truck wasn't there. He was probably still at work, pulling a double shift. Through the window, I saw her, saw the woman screaming at Jaden so hard her face was red, saw her grab him. Jaden didn't fight back, just took it. Like he was used to it. I had my phone out. I could call 911, call CPS. End this right now. But then I thought about what would happen. Investigation. Chris would be questioned. Maybe lose custody. Maybe relapse under the pressure. The man who destroyed my family would finally get what he deserved. All I had to do was nothing. Just walk away. Let the system handle it. Let Chris's life fall apart the way mine did. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, phone in my hand. Then I thought about Raymond. About what Sarah would say if she could see me right now. If she could see me choosing revenge over protecting a kid who needed help. About the fact that a 9-year-old boy was being hurt and I had the power to stop it. I dug the crumpled business card out of my glove compartment, smoothed it out, stared at Chris's number, and I called him. We met at a coffee shop 20 minutes later, neutral ground. Chris looked like he hadn't slept since our confrontation. "Thank you for calling," he said quietly. "I wasn't sure you would. I'm not here for you. I'm here because I think your son might be in danger." Chris's expression changed immediately. "What do you mean?" I told him what I'd seen. The flinch during gym, the bruises, the woman. The way Jaden took the abuse without fighting back. Chris's face went white. "Jennifer, my girlfriend, she moved in 6 months ago." "Does she hurt Jaden?" I don't know." His hands were shaking. "I work nights at the hospital, sometimes pull doubles when they're short-staffed. Jennifer watches Jaden when I'm not home. I thought I was giving him stability, a mother figure. Has Jaden said anything? He's been angry, withdrawn, not sleeping well. I thought it was about his mother leaving, about my past. What if I've been so focused on my own guilt that I missed this?" "Chris, I need you to be honest. Have you stayed sober?" "Every single day." "Would Jennifer have any reason to hurt Jaden?" Chris thought for a moment. "She's been stressed. Money's tight. She complains about Jaden being difficult, says he doesn't listen, that he's disrespectful." His voice dropped. "I thought she was just venting. What if it's more than that?" "Then we need to find out, today." We drove to Chris's house together. Jennifer's car was in the driveway. School didn't end for another 2 hours, but Chris had a key. We heard it before we opened the door. "I don't care if it hurts. You think I want to deal with you? Your father's a pathetic drunk and you're just as useless." Jaden's voice, small and scared. "I'm sorry. I'll be better. I promise." Chris burst through the door. Jennifer had Jaden by the arm, fingers digging in hard enough to leave marks. She froze when she saw us. "Chris, you're home early." "Let go of my son." His voice was deadly calm. He was mouthing off, "Let go." She released Jaden. He ran to his father immediately. "Get out," Chris said. "Get your things and get out of my house now. You can't just—" "I can. And if you're not gone in 5 minutes, I'm calling the police." Jennifer looked at me. "Who the hell are you?" "Someone who knows what it looks like when a child is being harmed." She grabbed her purse and keys, muttered something vicious under her breath, and left. Chris knelt down to Jaden's level. "Let me see your arms." Jaden hesitated, then rolled up his sleeves, bruises in the shape of fingerprints, some old and yellowing, some fresh and purple. "How long has this been happening?" "A few months," Jaden whispered. "She said if I told you, you'd start drinking again, and it would be my fault." Chris pulled his son into a hug, and I saw tears running down his face. "Nothing you could do would make me drink. Nothing. You understand?" Jaden nodded, crying into his father's shoulder. I stepped outside to give them privacy, and to call CPS. When I got home that evening, Raymond was already in bed, but still awake. "Dad, where were you?" "Just handling something. Thinking." "About Jaden's dad?" I looked at my son. "How did you know?" "Because you've been weird since the meeting, and I heard you pacing last night. You only pace when you're thinking about Mom." "Smart kid." "Raymond, I need to ask you something. Has Jaden ever talked about anyone at home, besides his dad?" Raymond frowned. "His dad's girlfriend. Jaden doesn't like her. He said she's mean." "Mean how?" "I don't know. He just said she yells a lot. And once he came to school with a bruise on his shoulder and said she pushed him down the stairs, but then he changed his story and said it was an accident, that he tripped." My blood ran cold. "When was this?" "Maybe 2 months ago." "Did you tell anyone?" "I told Mrs. Patterson. She said sometimes kids fall and I shouldn't make accusations." I closed my eyes. Another failure by the system. "Dad, is Jaden okay?" "He will be now, buddy. I made sure of it." Raymond was quiet for a moment. "Even though his dad is the one who hurt Mom?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because Jaden doesn't deserve to suffer for his father's mistakes. Neither do you. And because your mom would want me to protect any child who needed help, even the son of the man who hurt our family." Raymond hugged me. "I think Mom would be proud of you." "I hope so, buddy. I really hope so." For 2 days, I heard nothing. Then, on the 3rd evening, my phone rang. Chris's name on the screen. I almost didn't answer. "Mr. Walsh, David. Can I talk to you?" "What happened?" "CPS came by, interviewed Jaden, examined the bruises, checked the house. Jennifer's been charged with child abuse and assault. Jaden's in therapy starting next week." "That's good. He needs support." "David, can I ask you something?" "What?" "Why did you help us, after everything I did to your family?" I was quiet for a long moment, staring at the photo of Sarah on my mantel. "Because Jaden doesn't deserve to suffer for your mistakes. Neither does Raymond. And as much as I hate what you did, I can't let a child be hurt when I have the power to stop it. Sarah would be proud of you. Don't." My voice came out sharper than I intended. "Don't talk about Sarah like you knew her." "You're right. I'm sorry." Silence stretched between us. "Chris, Jaden needs to apologize to Raymond, face to face, and he needs to understand why what he did was wrong." "I know, and I've talked to him about it. He wants to apologize. He's just scared Raymond won't accept it. That's Raymond's choice to make, but Jaden needs to try." "Okay, when?" "Saturday, the park near school, noon. We'll be there." Saturday came. Raymond was nervous in the car, picking at the seatbelt. "Dad, what if he's mean again?" "I don't think he will be. But if he is, we leave immediately. Deal?" "Deal." Chris and Jaden were already at the park when we arrived. Jaden looked small, scared. Nothing like the bully who'd tormented Raymond for months. "Raymond," Jaden said, his voice shaking. "I'm sorry." Raymond crossed his arms, waiting. "I was really mean to you. I called you names. I made other kids not want to be your friend. I said terrible things about your mom. Jaden's voice broke. I was angry about stuff at home, but that doesn't make it okay. You didn't deserve any of it. Raymond looked at him for a long moment. Why my scars? Why did you pick on that specifically? Jaden looked at his father, then back at Raymond. Because they made you different, and I wanted someone else to feel as bad as I felt. That's honest, Raymond said quietly. I know it doesn't make up for what I did, but I'm in therapy now, and my dad's making sure I understand why what I did was wrong. Raymond turned to me. Dad, can I talk to Jaden alone for a minute? Chris and I stepped away, close enough to intervene if needed, but far enough to give them privacy. We could see them talking, but couldn't hear the words. After 5 minutes, Raymond came back. What did you say? I asked. I told him I forgive him, but I also told him if he's ever mean to anyone else like that, I'll report him again. That's fair. And I told him. Raymond hesitated. I told him if he needs someone to talk to who understands what it's like when adults mess things up, he can talk to me. I hugged my son tight. I'm proud of you. Dad, I'm not friends with him. I don't know if I ever will be, but I know what it's like to be in pain, and I don't want anyone else to feel alone in that. Chris continued therapy with Jaden, got temporary supervised visitation, gradually earning back full custody as Jaden's therapist reported progress. Jaden apologized to every kid he'd bullied. Some forgave him, some didn't. He accepted both outcomes without argument. Raymond and Jaden weren't friends, but they weren't enemies either. Sometimes they sat together at lunch when other kids were away. Sometimes they worked on projects together. It was cautious, careful, complicated, which was exactly what it should be. 3 months after the park meeting, Raymond came home from school with an unusual expression. Dad, Jaden's building a model car for his science project. Yeah? I offered to help him. Kind of ironic, right? I looked at my son carefully. That's pretty dark, Raymond. He shrugged. Yeah, but it's also funny, in a messed up way. You sure you want to do that? I think so. He needs help. And I'm good at building stuff. Plus, Mrs. Patterson paired us together, so I didn't have much choice. But the moment it becomes too much, I'll tell you, I promise. That Saturday, Jaden came over. They worked on the car in our garage. It was awkward at first, stiff conversation, long silences filled with the sound of plastic pieces snapping together. But slowly, they found a rhythm. Your scars, Jaden said at one point. Do they hurt? Sometimes. When it's cold. Or if I bump them wrong. I'm sorry I made you feel bad about them. I know. More silence. The sound of sandpaper on plastic. My dad talks about your mom sometimes, Jaden said quietly, in therapy. He says he thinks about her every day. Raymond's hands stilled on the model car. Does he think that makes it better? No. He says nothing makes it better, but he has to remember so he doesn't forget what he took from the world. Raymond looked up. That's heavy. Yeah. Jaden, can I ask you something? Sure. When Jennifer was hurting you, why didn't you tell someone sooner? Jaden's face darkened. She said if I told my dad would drink again, and it would be my fault. She said I'd destroy him like he destroyed your family. That's not true. I know that now. But when you're scared, it's hard to see what's true. Raymond nodded slowly. Yeah, I get that. They went back to building. One evening a few weeks later, Chris knocked on my door. I'd been expecting this conversation eventually. David, can we talk? I let him in, offered coffee. We sat at the kitchen table, two men connected by tragedy and trying to figure out how to exist in the same world. I've been in recovery for over 3 years now, Chris said, and step 9 is making amends to people you've harmed. My sponsor's been telling me I need to face you, really face you, not just apologize and hope you'll accept it. Okay. I can't give you back what I took. I can't undo what I did. Your wife is gone because of my choices. Raymond will carry scars for the rest of his life because of me. No amount of therapy or volunteering changes that. No, it doesn't. But I need you to know that I've spent these years trying to become someone different. Someone who could be present for my son, someone who could contribute something meaningful to the world. I can't be the man I was. That man deserves to stay buried. Chris, you're the same person. You just stopped drinking. Am I? Because the man I was wouldn't have noticed his son being abused, wouldn't have prioritized anyone over his next drink, wouldn't have built a life around making sure that night never happens again to anyone. I thought about that, about the scars on his arms, about the way he'd broken down when he saw Jaden's bruises, about the fact that he'd been working doubles to pay child support to an ex-wife who left him at his lowest point. Maybe you're right. Maybe you are different. Does that mean you forgive me? No. Chris nodded slowly, like he'd expected that answer. Okay. I don't forgive you for what happened to Sarah, for destroying my family, for giving my son scars he'll carry forever. I paused. But I respect that you're trying. I respect that you haven't given up on being better. And I respect that you're facing what you did instead of running from it. That's more than I deserve. Yes, it is. We sat in silence for a moment. The kitchen clock ticked. Outside, I could hear Raymond and Jaden laughing about something in the garage. David, can I ask you something? What? When you found out I was court-ordered to stay here, did that make it worse? Knowing I've been in the same town all this time? In some ways, yes. But it also means you didn't run. You stayed where you had to face what you did every day. That takes something. My sponsor says the same thing, that staying here was part of my penance. Maybe it was, but your son needed you here too. And he needed you sober. Chris's eyes filled with tears. I don't know if I can ever forgive myself. That's between you and whatever God you believe in. But your son needs a father, and he needs that father to be present, not drowning in guilt. You're a better man than I am. No, I'm just a father trying to raise a son who doesn't let pain turn him cruel. Same as you. 1 year later, Raymond stood in front of his class for the school's anti-bullying assembly. He'd volunteered for this, even though public speaking terrified him. My name is Raymond Walsh. I have scars from a car accident that took my mum from us 3 years ago. For a long time, someone in this school bullied me because of these scars. He rolled up his sleeve, showing the grafted skin to the entire auditorium. I used to hate these scars. I thought they made me a monster. But now I understand they're just proof I survived something hard. They're part of my story, but they're not the whole story. He paused, looking out at the audience, looking directly at Jaden, who sat in the third row. The person who bullied me was going through something terrible at home. That doesn't excuse what he did, but it helps me understand that hurt people, and the only way to break that cycle is to choose differently. A few students glanced at Jaden. He sat still, taking it. I'm not going to tell you we're best friends now because we're not. Forgiveness is complicated. Trust takes time to rebuild. But I will tell you that people can change, if they want to, if they do the work. After the assembly, Raymond found me in the hallway. How did I do? You were perfect, buddy. Dad, I want to show you something. He pulled out his phone, showed me a photo. It was the model car he and Jaden had built together, but they'd painted it, added details, made it into something more than just a school project, and on the hood, in careful letters, in memory of Sarah Walsh, gone but not forgotten. Jaden's idea, Raymond said. He asked if it was okay. I said yes. I had to turn away for a moment, blinking hard. Dad, are you crying? Yeah, buddy, I am. Is it because you miss Mom? Always, but also because I'm proud of you. Because you're choosing to be kind, even when it's hard. That's the hardest thing in the world. Raymond leaned against me. Do you think Mom would be proud? I know she would be. Chris maintained his recovery. Jaden thrived in therapy, became an advocate for abuse survivors in his school, started a peer support group with the guidance counselor. Raymond started a support group for kids with visible differences, scars, disabilities, birthmarks, anything that made them targets for bullying or stares. He called it the Different Is Not Less Club, and it met every Thursday after school. He never became best friends with Jaden, Their relationship stayed complicated, respectful, occasionally friendly, but marked by history that couldn't be erased, which was healthy, real, honest. One day, about 18 months after the assembly, Raymond came to me with an idea that took my breath away. "Dad, I want to donate part of Mom's settlement money." After the accident, we'd received a significant settlement. I'd put it in trust for Raymond's future. College, a house someday, whatever he needed. To what? To recovery programs for parents and therapy funds for kids in foster care. Kids like Jaden who need help but can't afford it. Raymond, that's your money, your future. Mom's gone because someone made a terrible choice while struggling with addiction, but Chris got help and changed. Jaden got help and changed. What if Mom's... He struggled with the word. What if her death could help other people get that same chance, so other families don't have to go through what we did, what Chris and Jaden did? I pulled my son into a hug. Your mother would love that idea. Let's do it. We set up the Sarah Walsh Second Chances Fund. It provided grants to single parents in recovery who couldn't afford therapy for their children, and to families navigating foster care who needed mental health support. Chris cried when he found out. "I don't deserve this." "It's not about deserving," Raymond said. We were all sitting in our living room, Chris, Jaden, Raymond, and me, an unlikely group bound by tragedy. "It's about making sure other people don't have to suffer like we did, like you did, like Jaden did. Your mother would be proud of both of you," Chris said quietly, looking at me for permission. I nodded. He'd earned that much. Raymond's scars will always be part of his story, but they're not a tragedy anymore. They're a reminder that survival is possible, that healing is complicated and non-linear, that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and moving forward doesn't mean letting go of the past. They're proof that sometimes the people who hurt us are hurting too, that acknowledging pain doesn't excuse causing it, but understanding context helps break cycles, and that choosing compassion, even when it's hard, even when it's complicated, even when you're not sure you can, is the bravest thing any of us can do. Chris didn't get a clean redemption. David didn't give easy forgiveness. Raymond and Jaden didn't become best friends. But they all chose to try, to show up, to do the hard work of coexisting in a world where terrible things happen and people have to figure out how to move forward anyway. And sometimes, trying is enough. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. Let us know in the comments. Do you believe people can truly change, or are some actions unforgivable? Thanks for watching, and remember, hurt people, but healed people heal people. We'll see you in the next one.